So I know a lot of runners report in this shoe that it's quite soft and bouncy. However, that's not my feeling in this shoe, and I think that's just due to my weight and also my style of running. Testing is complete and the scores are in, and this is the full review of the ASICS Superblast 2. But before we get into it, a big shout out to my #1 running store, the Running Company at Geelong. I've got a link to their website in the description. Make sure you go check out that and check out all their running gear. And also guys, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So the Superblast 2 is a neutral super trainer from ASICS, and the original version of this was actually rated by a lot of runners out there as the GOAT shoe, so the greatest of all time shoe. So I'm not too sure about this. So this shoe actually has some big shoes to fill, but price wise it stayed the same price here in Australia, $320, $200 in the US. Now in the weight, 8.8 ounces, 250 grams in a men's size 9. Now my US 8.5 actually comes in at a fair bit lighter than that. So I think ASICS are sort of selling themselves a little bit short there with what they've put on their website. And in the stack heights here, massive stack, 45 in the rear, 37 in the front, and that's going to give us a 8mm drop. Now scores wise, now this shoe is coming well over the $300 mark. It is a training shoe, however it is versatile and it's pretty durable. However for me it's still too expensive, 6.5 out of 10. And in the weight I'm pretty impressed here, especially with a shoe with such a big stack, and it is a training shoe, 8 out of 10. And in our upper here, so we have got a pretty thick engineered mesh upper. So the upper reminds me of a knit type material, but it's certainly not a knit. But the breathability in this shoe is pretty good. Now with our heel counter, pretty solid at the back here, and we've got a little pull tab here, which I haven't had to use. We've also got another pull tab, which is also located on the tongue. In the padding department, I would say a medium amount of padding. It's a little bit more than last year's version, I've got the feeling. Now with our tongue, it's on the thinner side, but there is a couple of pads on it to take that laces pressure away. We've got a gusseted tongue here, so that one is not moving around anywhere. Pretty standard lacing system, so similar to last year's one if you were familiar with that. I've had no dramas with these laces coming undone, and that goes into the lockdown. So again, no issues with the lockdown. With our fit, true to size in the length, and I'm going to say a medium width in the toe box, and I actually think the volume of the toe box is quite generous as well. Now build quality, it's ASICS, as I say, it's always excellent, and in the step-in comfort, it's pretty good as well. So not too much to complain about here in the upper, 8.5 out of 10. And in our outsole here, the rubber material that they're using is ASICS grip, so it's good to see that it's been upgraded from the AHA, because the grip in this shoe in all conditions is absolutely excellent, and it also goes pretty good on a dirt road as well. Now rubber coverage wise, we don't have a lot of rubber slathered all over this shoe like you do see in a lot of training shoes. It's just in segments, so just in pods, and that is obviously not to constrict this midsole because the ride is so important of this shoe. But durability wise as well in this shoe, this rubber is wearing down quite nicely. So I've got about 130 Ks in this shoe now, but there is minimal rubber wear on this shoe. They fixed up all those little issues with the outsole in this version. So for me, this is almost the perfect outsole. I love ASICS grip, 9.5 out of 10. And in the midsole, so they've got a bit of a dual density thing going on. It is a super trainer and they use their super foam. So it's got a huge slab of this FF Turbo Plus, and that's the same foam that they use in their premium race day shoes. So they're not skimping out here on us, it's a huge slab of that. And then under that, they have got a really thin layer of FF Blast Plus, and that's what they use in some of their high-end training shoes as well. But yeah, a good little mix here. We've got no plate in the shoe, so no carbon plate, no nylon plate. However, this shoe is still pretty stiff, still pretty rigid, so it's pretty solid, not much movement left or right, so very stable platform here. And in the geometry, we have got a bit of a 4-foot rocker here, so it's not incredibly noticeable on the run. However, it takes all the slappiness out of the ride. But I will say, if you run in last year's model, this rocker is, I think it's been tweaked, and it's certainly more noticeable. I'm not sure if that's due to the foam feeling a little bit stiffer, or the geometry itself has been tweaked, but I certainly can actually feel the rocker more in this version than the previous version. And in the ride, so the first word that is coming to mind is responsive. So that was my same feeling as when I first got the shoe in my first impressions. So I know a lot of runners report in this shoe that it's quite soft and bouncy. However, that's not my feeling in this shoe. And I think that's just due to my weight and also my style of running. But yeah, I do squish into this foam a little bit, but not very much. And I do get a little bit of energy return and pop back. But for me, it's certainly on the responsive side. I'm not sinking into this foam and getting a whole lot of bounce back. It's quite a short little dig into the foam and a really quick responsive pop out. But this shoe is incredibly stable. So you're not going to roll over in this one. This nice big footprint on the bottom just makes you feel really secure on the run. The foam is also, the ride is incredibly consistent. So how it feels on the first K you run, it also feels like that after about 30K. So this foam, very durable, holds up really well. It's also a pretty efficient ride as well. So because the firmness of this ride, you don't have to work too hard to tick the legs over in this shoe. So I quite like that. And with that weight, the shoe does feel nice and light on the foot. But overall in the ride, I was actually expecting a little bit more out of it. So I was a bit disappointed because this shoe has got so much super foam in it. However, I don't get that same sensation as what I do in their race day option. So I don't know if this foam is the same formulation as what they use. So for me, it doesn't make any sense why I can't sink into this foam and get any bounce out of it. However, saying that, it's still a pretty nice ride. I just expected a little bit more. 8 out of 10. And best use is exactly what it's designed for. So this is still the long run king. So this huge big slab of super foam is really going to protect your legs out on those long runs, as well as this nice efficient ride is really going to allow you to tick those legs over effortlessly. I think it's still suitable for your daily miles as well. If you want to use this for your daily trainer, go for your life. And who's this shoe best for? So I think if you are like one of those heavier runners out there or hit the ground quite hard in this shoe, you're really going to get the most out of this shoe. You're really going to be able to squish this foam down and get that pop and excitement out of the ride. So other shoes out there or some options if you are considering the Superblast 2 or can't get your hands on a pair of the Superblast 2. So first shoe that I'll mention is the Mizuno Neo Vista. So that one, it comes in at around the same price point. So for me, that shoe is softer, it's more rocketed, and for me, it's a much more enjoyable shoe, but it can certainly handle all the runs that the Superblast 2 can handle. It's probably going to suit lighter runners over those heavier runners. The next one is the New Balance Super Comp Trainer V3. So that one, again, it's got a carbon plate in it. It's a little bit softer than this ride. However, it's still designed for the long run. So very, very comfortable. It's going to save those legs on those long days on the road. And the last one that I will mention is the little brother to this shoe. So the ASICS Superblast 4. So much cheaper than this shoe. However, just as good. So just checking out our final scores here now. Yeah, it has certainly scored pretty well again, the old Superblast 2, but again, let down by the price. So I know this is a versatile shoe. It's got super foam and it is still quite a durable shoe, but I still think $320 is too expensive. Bring that down by about $40 or $50 and I think that we've got a real winner here with this shoe. But if you're not concerned by price at all, then yeah, this shoe, a lot of people are going to get along with this shoe, and that's why this shoe absolutely, it flies off the shelves. So I think there's a new colorway of this shoe coming out very soon, so you should be able to get your hands on a pair of these pretty soon. But overall score there, as you can see there, pretty good. Again, it's cracked into the 40s. It could be a lot better if the price was a little bit cheaper. But anyway, guys, that is it from me. That's the full review of this shoe. Keep an eye out for the comparison reviews with the Superblast. I've already done a few, and there's also going to be a few more coming up with this shoe because everyone wants to know how this shoe compares to anything else. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.